I've been a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed series ever since the free-running delights of the first game. Now, the series has had its missteps, hello Connor and Unity, but it's also given us one of the finest protagonists in gaming's pantheon.
And you are Messer...
Auditore, but please, call me Ezio.
Not to mention near endless hours of time-travelling virtual tourism. Assassin's Creed Origins goes all the way back to ancient Egyptian times. The review is out right now, you guys can go check it out. And we thought we'd try and place it in amongst the top 5 Assassin's Creed games of all time. So, without further ado, here we go. A little honourable mention to kick things off. Syndicate doesn't quite make the list just simply because it kind of shone a little bit brighter merely as a result of coming directly after the omni-shambles that was Unity. But I wanted to give it a little bit of love, if only because, you know, I'm English and I live in London and Victorian London is awesome. And as it turned out, you know, making a female playable character really wasn't that hard after all, was it, Ubisoft? And, you know, the zipline was cool and you got to solve mysteries with Charles Dickens, which was pretty rad. Kicking off the list at number 5 though is the original game, Assassin's Creed itself, and it was in many ways little more than a tech demo, but I have such fond memories of discovering this game alongside my uni friends that I simply couldn't leave it off the list. There was this feeling of unbridled joy in exploring these Crusader cities, and although, you know, the Assassin's toolkit hadn't been fully developed yet or fleshed out at all to take full advantage of the environment, players enjoyed unfettered freedom and dizzying delicious verticality when it came to approaching assassinations. We spent hours just climbing to the top of minarets just to see the view. And yes, the side quests were absolute garbage, but the purity of the game's approach to its core systems, learn about your target, explore the surroundings, plot the ultimate execution while running up the side of a building, these things mark the start of nothing short of a gaming revolution. Assassin's Creed Origins delivers probably the best game world in the series, apart from Black Flag, probably. I mean, ancient Egypt is gloriously recreated here, the combat mechanisms have finally been updated, and with Origins, Ubisoft kind of borrowed heavily from other awesome games to great effect. Like the outposts in Far Cry have inspired military camps and bandit hideouts here. The side quests in Origins are more vital than any of the banal collectible nonsense that's kind of come before in previous games, and it's quite clear that some of the developers have clearly looked towards something like The Witcher 3 for inspiration, imbuing peripheral characters with, you know, backstory, giving you reasons to care about the side quests that you're engaging in. And instead of being a shrug in the annals of the series, Origins is really impressive. It's really impressive, even if it doesn't reinvent the wheel. After years of mediocrity, that's no bad thing at all. I really toyed with putting Brotherhood in at number 1, you know. Those of you who have followed me since my Dealspawn days will know that I actually gave this thing a 10 at the time, and it shouldn't have worked. Like, Brotherhood should not have worked. It was heralded to release merely a year after its fantastic predecessor came out. It had absolutely no right to be any good, except it was. Brotherhood wasn't a cynical money grab at all. In fact, it added innovative new features that have stuck around to this day in a series that had already undergone a superb transformation in Assassin's Creed 2. Capturing territories, dispatching your stabby peers to kind of do your bidding, and an addictive multiplayer component that turned out to be really compelling and quite refreshing in a way. Brotherhood was frankly brilliant. Romping around Renaissance Rome was an absolute delight, and getting to drive a 15th century tank was the icing on an incredibly satisfying murderous cake. Assassin's Creed 3 was pretty terrible, but that's what happens when you make a plank of wood your main character. Its intro, though, was epic, playing a seafaring James Bondish Templar with far more charisma and panache than his son, and thankfully for the follow-up game, Ubisoft went full Buccaneer and gave us something that was basically Assassin's Creed crossed with Sid Meier's Pirates. Black Flag was a massive reinvention for the series, serving up this vast, beautiful, amazingly dynamic world filled with a variety of rich and diverse missions and, you know, ship-to-ship combat that was so good it's basically spawned its own game. The soundtrack was probably the best in the series to date, still is, and the story was engrossing yet grounded, whether sneaking into plantations, assaulting coastal forts, exploring shipwrecks, stalking Templars through the Mayan jungle. It didn't matter what you were doing, Black Flag was never less than absolutely brilliant fun. Assassin's Creed 2 was the absolute game changer, and I mean in many ways it's kind of the platonic form of the Ubisoft game. Ubisoft have been constantly chasing their own tails trying to better this thing in not just Assassin's Creed but pretty much every other series to date as well. But to return to Assassin's Creed 2 is to see that despite its many rich and varied features, the plethora of side missions and tombs to explore, the array of ways you could upgrade and enhance your home of Monteriggioni, Nothing in this game feels like tacked on or bloated or superfluous. In spite of its size, and Assassin's Creed 2 is a huge game, this isn't a bloated experience at all. The second game in the series took everything that was present in its callow but curious predecessor and just made it better. Instead of a bland cipher, we got one of the most charismatic characters in gaming. And in place of meaningless flag collection, we suddenly had quests that really impacted on the game, the controls went further and were developed and more refined, the executions were more brutal and varied, the story went from simple revenge to a dimension-spanning epic that rewrote everything that we thought we knew, and it can be argued, and I did it back in that Brotherhood review, that its sort of successor, by definition of being a game that somehow managed to improve upon the exemplary template that was Assassin's Creed 2, might be considered to be the better game. But frankly, few games of any genre or franchise or platform can boast to being as important as this. Assassin's Creed 2 is nothing short of a modern classic. But how about you? Which Assassin's Creed games do you think are the best? Which do you think are the worst? Guys, hit me up in the comments. Did I get it right? What would you put in the list? What would you take out? Let me know. Love to hear from you. And yeah, top 5 is coming back. It may not be every single week, but it will be Thursdays when I do publish it. So look out on social media at Fuzzy Pixels for announcements, news, that sort of thing. Or you can hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a thing. But yeah, I will see you latest Sunday for more spoiler alert. But yeah, take it easy, folks. Catch you soon. Bye.